Today you're going to convert rates and measurements. Right? When we do that, the whole reason for it is to make it to where we can understand certain things. We're used to units such as like feet and miles, and so we want to convert like kilometers or centimeters to something we can understand. That's the biggest reason for converting rates. Here they give you the record for the fastest land car at 760 miles per hour. Well, if you've ever only gone 60, 70 miles per hour in a car, it's kind of hard to compare that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert that unit miles per hour. I'm going to convert those units to miles per minute. I'm going to change it to something that you might understand a little bit better. Now this is just a convert, which I'm going to show you. We're going to use dimensional analysis to do that. And it's just timesing by conversion rates. Which, here we go. The first thing you do is you write what they give you, which is 760 miles per hour. So the per is the line, and then you do hour. Write the units. It is imperative that you write the units. And what I like to do is I like to go down to the end, and I like to write the units that I need, which is miles per minute. Right? They said I'm going to convert this to miles per minute. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to compare it to what I already know. If you're going 60 miles per hour, that means you're going a mile every minute. You divide 60 by 60, you get a mile per minute. So we're going to compare 760 miles to that. 760 miles per hour. What I do is I'm going to times by conversion rate. Conversion rate is just one unit to another unit. Units that I know. What do I need to change? I've got miles per hour and I need to go to miles per minute. What do I need to change?
Yeah.
The what?
The hour.
I need to change hour to what? To minutes. I need to change the hours to minutes. So what I do is I look at where's hours now. Is it on top or is it on bottom? It's on bottom. So I write that on top. And I'm going to show you why here in a second. So hour needs to be on top. What needs to go on bottom? What needs to go on bottom of hours? Minutes. This is my conversion rate. One unit to another unit. Do I know how many minutes are an hour?
Yes, 60.
Yeah, it's 60. Hey, if you don't know it, then you're not going to be able to multiply by this. You're going to have to multiply by a different conversion rate. Sometimes you'll have to multiply by several conversion rates just to get to what you want. And you're going to see examples here in a minute. But the reason I write hours on top and minutes on bottom is when they're on the opposite sides, the units cancel. What units do I have left? What's the only units left up there? Units are not numbers. Okay? It's miles over minutes. Is that what I want? Once I've got to this point, once I see, hey, that's all I've got, then I know I can multiply, I can divide, I can do all the operations. And what I do is I just multiply everything on top. We know how to multiply fractions, so I multiply everything on top. 760 times 1 is 760. I multiply everything on bottom. 1 times 60 is 60. And what I do is I divide those. So I take 760 divided by 60, and I get 12.7 miles per minute. So compare that to 60 miles per hour, where you're going a mile every minute. Here you're going 12 times that, almost 13 times that speed. Pretty fast. This page I put in your notes just so if you're not for sure on measurement conversions, hey, then this is the page you refer to. It's in your book. And this has everything when you go customary metric or metric to customary. It has both options. You get to choose which side you want to use, either this side or that side. The only difference is one side, if you were going from one unit to another and use this, you might multiply. If you're going from here, you might divide. It might be opposite though. If you need to go from customer to customer, like if you forget how many inches are in a foot, that's at the back of your book. If you need to know how many centimeters are in a meter or in a kilometer, that's in the back of the book. But any system conversion where you're going from one system like customary that we know, inches, feet, to a different system like metric, that's all on page 276. So that's where you refer to here. Write down this. So we use dimensional analysis to go from one rate to a different rate. Here we're going to just use it to go from one system to a different system. So what I do is I write what they give me, which is 12 centimeters. if it's not a rate where it's like centimeters per hour or miles per hour, hey, I just write over 1. And I'm needing to go to inches, so I'd write inches down the bottom, off to the side somewhere, where once I see I've only got inches left, then I'm done. Then I can multiply or divide. And here I give you this, which you can find on page 276. This is the conversion rate between inches and centimeters. You can use the other one where it's 1 centimeter is equal to 0.394 inches. I'm going to show you both, just to show you it's not a big deal. You use whichever one you want. You'll get the same answer. Here I've got centimeters on top. Where does centimeters need to go if I need to get rid of it? Where would I put that unit? I would put it on bottom. If it's on top, I put it on bottom. And I go to inches. As long as I know what that conversion rate is. If I don't know how many inches are in a centimeter or how many centimeters are in an inch, I can't use that. But this one I can because I'm told that 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. Now what I like to do is I like to write the units first and then write the numbers. So I've got everything I need to. Is there anything that cancels? Centimeters. They're on opposite sides of the line, so they cancel each other out. And when I look, the only unit I have left is what? Inches. So now I just need to multiply and divide. So I take 12 times 1, I get 12. 1 times 2.54 is 2.54. So I take 12 divided by 2.54, and when I do that, I get 4.72 inches. And there's my answer. Now, you don't have to write this down, but I'm just going to briefly show you if you want to use the other conversion rate. So I write 12 centimeters over 1. The other conversion rate was 0.394 inches is 1 centimeter. Centimeters cancel. I take 12 times 0.394. You guys know what that equals? Want to take a guess at it? It's 4.72. Amazing how that works out. 12 times 0.394 is the same as 12 divided by 2.54. So either way, I'm going to get the same answer, right? But if I use this conversion rate, I multiply. If I use this conversion rate, or this conversion rate, I multiply. If I use this one, I divide. Now later, it might be switched. Right? It's up to you, whichever one you want to use. Any questions? Now let's do quarts to liters. Write this down. So they tell me 4 quarts is how many liters? That's what they're asking for. So I write what they give me. 4 quarts over 1. This is not a rate. It's just a measurement. And I write L over here because I need to go liters. So that's my goal. They tell me that for 1 quart is equal to 0.946 liters. Alan, where would quarts go? Would it go on top of the conversion rate or on bottom of the conversion rate?
On bottom.
On bottom. It needs to go opposite of where it is. 1 quart is equal to 0.946 liters. By the way, if I haven't mentioned, this just means equivalent to, close to. It doesn't mean it's exactly 0.946, but it's close. That's just what the sign above the equal sign means. Quarts cancel. I'm at liters. Is that what I need? So now I just multiply and I do 4 times 0.946. When I do that, I get 3.784 liters. Here it says a giant tortoise can travel at 900 feet per hour. We want to break that down to something closer to that we can understand. So let's figure out centimeters per second. So I write what they give me, which the first one we did when we just were doing the land speed record, we were going from the same units. We were going miles per hour to miles per minute. Here we're actually going from one system to another. But nothing changes. We still use dimensional analysis to go from one unit to another. 900 feet per hour. All right, and then over here I write what units I want. I want centimeters per second. So once I get to that, then I know I can work it out. Now I've got several options. You get to do however you want to do this. All you've got to know is that you've got to go from feet to what unit?
Centimeters.
Centimeters. You need to go hours to what unit? Seconds. Your choice on which one you want to do first. But let's go feet to centimeters first. So if feet's on top, it needs to go where? On bottom. The issue is I don't know how many feet or how many centimeters are in a foot. If you look on page 276, it doesn't tell you. But it does tell me how many inches are in a centimeter, how many centimeters are in an inch. But here's the deal. I'm at feet. So how would I get from feet to centimeters?
Multiply by 12.
Right? Well, let's go from feet to inches and then inches to centimeters because I know both of those conversion rates. I know that for 1 foot it's 12 inches. About centimeters. It's 12 inches. And then I'm going to get rid of inches by putting it down here. And I need to go to what unit? Inches to what? Centimeters. Well, I know that 2.54 centimeters are in 1 inch. I can use that. I can use the other conversion rate if you want to, but I like this one. Right? And then I just briefly look over it and cancel out any units that I can. I've got centimeters per hour. Okay? Am I done? No. I've changed it to centimeters, but now I need to change hours to seconds, right? So I need to keep timesing by conversion rates until I get what I want. I need to go from hours to seconds. Do I know how many seconds are in an hour? Do you guys know?
60.
That's a minute. There's 60 seconds in a minute. Right? If you don't know how many seconds are in an hour, okay, do you know how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So I'm going to go hour on top. I'm going to go minute on bottom. There are 60 minutes in an hour, which hours will cancel. And then I'm going to get rid of minutes by going from minutes to seconds. Because do I know how many seconds are in a minute? 60. Minutes cancel. William, what units do I have left? So I've got centimeters here. I've got seconds here. That's what I want. So now I can multiply everything on top. I multiply everything on bottom, and then I divide the two. So I take 900 times 12 times 2.54. When I do that, I get this number right here. It's 27,432. And on bottom, I take 1 times 1 times 1 times 60 times 60. Well, 6 times 60 is 3,600. So now you know how many seconds are in an hour. And then I just divide the two numbers. When I divide those two numbers, I get this number. 7.62 centimeters per second. And there's my answer. So everyone look at the first page of the worksheet you've got. Hey, and we're gonna work through this. We're gonna convert 8 cups of juice per 1 gallon of water to cups of juice per quart of water. They're gonna use conversion factors, use dimensional analysis to convert from one rate to another, which is cups per gallon to cups per quart. So 8 cups, hey, over 1 gallon. I'm going to change gallon to quarts. Hey, you can find that in the back of your book. But if you don't know, it is 4 quarts per gallon. So you need to fill in 4. Because there are 4 quarts in a gallon. That's the conversion rate. 8 times 1 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. What's 8 divided by 4? 2. So your answer is 2 cups per quart. Just like that. Convert 110 millimeters per meter to millimeters per centimeter. All right. So I've got 110 millimeters over 1 meter. I need to change meter to what? What unit? Centimeter. Hey, that's the biggest thing is knowing what you got to change to. That's the first thing you got to do. I got to change it from meter to centimeter. So centimeter needs to go on bottom. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. Hey, that you can find in the back of the book. That you should know from science. I cancel out like the meters. So I've got millimeters per centimeter. That's what I want. So I take 110 divided by 100. And you get 1.1 millimeters per centimeter. Number 3, they say convert 80 ounces per minute to ounces per second. So I'm going to change what unit? What unit do I have? Do I need to change to? I have got minutes. What do I need to change it to? Seconds. You always have to identify what unit are you getting rid of, what unit are you going to. Right? Sometimes it's more than one unit. Here it's just ounces per minute to ounces per second. So minute needs to go where? How do I get rid of minutes? I put it on the opposite. If it's on the bottom, it needs to go on top. Where seconds need to go? Bottom. Do I know how many seconds are in a minute? 60. I cancel out minutes. I'm at ounces per second. Is that what I want? So I take 80 divided by 60. They go with a fraction. It's 1 1/3 ounce per second. Now let's fill in the blank. They just give you a diagram that shows you the steps to convert from one measurement system to another. So let's figure out step 1. It says set up a blank. You got simplify, ratio, divide, and conversion factor. What do we want? Ratio. You want to set up a ratio. So in the blank you need to write the word ratio of the measurement you are converting. Number 2, it says write a blank. What do I want? Conversion factor, which that doesn't fit all in there for me, but it does for you. Write a conversion factor using the units you are converting to. Just like we've been doing. This is a conversion rate, or conversion factor. This is a conversion factor. This is a conversion factor. When you're multiplying, those are conversion factors. Because it lets you go from minutes to seconds. So it lets you go from one unit to another. And then what? It says blank out common units. What should I have? Simplify or divide? Divide. You want to divide out the common units. And then you can simplify. That's the steps. Now you should have no trouble doing homework because now you have the steps listed out in front of you. So this is what you need to do for the next 2 pages. 1 through 4, all the questions on page 65, and then 1 through 10 on page 66. So go ahead and mark out question number 11 on page 66. Now again, this needs to be written out on a separate piece of paper, all of your work. Now if you want to go ahead and write the answer on that, on the worksheet, that's fine. I wouldn't though. I'd write out number 1, I'd show my work, and I'd circle that answer. I would just have it listed as this page 65, number 1, and I go on. I wouldn't go back and write it on the worksheet, but you can do that if you want. But you are required to show your work on a separate piece of paper. You are required to make sure that's stapled to this when you get done. And this is your homework. It's 14 questions. They give you examples of how to do the problems that you're going to do, so there shouldn't be any question on how to do this by now.